Quantum Leap, Accelerate Your Path to Limitless Success. Full audiobook by DJA-Audiobook. Introduction. Welcome to Quantum Leap, Accelerate Your Path to Limitless Success, brought to you by DJA-Audiobook, your trusted space for profound personal growth, mindset transformation, and self-mastery through powerful audio experiences. This is more than motivation, more than a boost of inspiration or a temporary push. This is a blueprint. It's a real, grounded, powerful guide to shifting the way you live, think, act, and evolve from the inside out. A quantum leap isn't just about doing more or chasing bigger goals. It's about collapsing the timeline between where you are now and the life you know you're meant to live. In this audiobook, we'll walk through 7 transformational seasons, each one unlocking a deeper layer of your potential. You'll learn how to reprogram your mindset for exponential growth, escape the invisible traps of comfort and fear, or shift your identity to match your highest C, take bold, aligned action that collapses time and raise your internal frequency to attract what you desire. Build habits and systems that sustain success, and finally, embody the version of yourself that lives beyond limits. But this won't be a theory, and it won't be fluff. It'll be honest, practical, and direct, because we believe that transformation should be felt, not just understood. Heard, yes, but more importantly, lived. This journey is personal. This journey is powerful. This journey is yours. So whether you're listening in your car, on a walk, at the gym, or quietly reflecting at home, let this audiobook speak to the version of you ready to rise, the version that's tired of almost, the version that knows they're built for more, the version that's ready to stop watching from the sidelines and start living on purpose. You don't need more time. You need more alignment. You don't need to hustle harder. You need to think, feel, and act like the person who already has the life you want. And that shift, that leap, starts right here. So, take a breath. Get present and prepare to step into the next level of yourself. Your leap begins now. Season 1, The Quantum Shift Mindset. What if the way you see yourself is the only thing standing between you and the life you want? Think about that for a second. Not your background, not your bank account, not even your current circumstances. Just your mindset. The inner blueprint you've been unconsciously following daily. That's where it all starts. And in this chapter, that's precisely where we're going. We will peel back the layers of your current identity and rebuild it piece by piece, not based on who you were, but who you are becoming. This is where the leap begins, not with action, but with awareness. And what we're building here isn't hype. It's transformation from the inside out. So sit back, take a breath, and let's begin. Part 1. The mind behind it all. Let's get honest for a second. Most of us were never taught how to think. We were just handed beliefs. From the moment we were born, we were conditioned. We picked up beliefs from our parents, teachers, culture, and experiences. We absorbed what was possible, what was realistic, what success should look like, and who we should be. And without even realizing it, we built a mental operating system. Some of it helped, but a lot of it held us back. Let me ask you, have you ever had a big idea, something exciting, and before you even took the first step, your mind said, "That's not you." That voice, that's your current mindset trying to protect the identity it already knows. Because your brain doesn't care about growth, it cares about familiarity. So the moment you want to shift, it resists. It whispers, "That's risky. You've never done that before. What if you fail?" But here's what I want you to understand. That voice isn't authentic. It's just a pattern, and patterns can be rewritten. This is where we start taking your power back. Part 2. The difference between surface change and a quantum shift. Let's talk about what makes a fundamental transformation. You see, most people try to change from the outside in. They say, if I just had more money, I'd feel better. Once I lose the weight, then I'll feel confident. Everything will click if I get that job or reach that milestone. But here's the thing. If your mindset doesn't shift, none of that outer change sticks. Because the results you create are always a reflection of the identity you believe in. Let me say that again. Your results are always a mirror of your mindset. So if deep down you think, I'm not good enough, or I always mess things up, or I'm just not the kind of person who wins, then, no matter how much action you take, you'll find a way to sabotage or shrink your progress to match that belief. This is why a quantum shift mindset is different. It doesn't work from the outside. It transforms from the inside out. It doesn't ask, what do I need to do? It asks, who do I need to become? Because when your identity changes, your actions change. And when your actions change, your results have to catch up. Part 3. Who are you? A question might shake you. Who told you who you are? Think about that. Where did your identity come from? Did childhood experiences shape it? By failures that convinced you you're not enough? By people who couldn't see your potential, so you stopped seeing it too? The truth is, most of us live from identities that were handed to us, not chosen by us. But the quantum shift mindset is about choosing your identity on purpose. It's about saying, this is who I used to be, but that's not who I'm becoming. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone who's always struggled with discipline. They repeatedly try to build new habits but quit after a few days. They say, I'm just not consistent. But what if they decided, instead of trying to become disciplined, they decided, I am disciplined, and now I'm just aligning my actions with that truth. That slight shift from trying to being changes everything. Because when you genuinely believe something about yourself, your actions match. Part 4. Rewiring the mind for your leap. Now let's get practical. You're not stuck with your current mindset. Your brain is built to rewire, to adapt, to grow. It's called neuroplasticity, proof that change isn't just possible, it's natural. But rewiring your mind takes intention. Let's walk through some tools that will help you shift your mindset today. 1. The I am rewrite every morning. Write down 10 statements that begin with I am. Each should reflect your future version. I am focused. I am bold. I am financially free. I am magnetic. I am a finisher. At first it might feel fake, but repetition rewires belief, and belief rewires behavior. 2. Act as if, but do it right. This doesn't mean pretending to be something you're not. It means aligning your energy with the version of you that lives the life you want. Ask, how would my highest self handle this challenge? What would future me do right now? How would the best version of me speak, decide, walk, lead? Then start acting from that place. Now. That's how the leap begins. 3. Identity. Anchor in Jaiji. Choose something, a gesture, a word, a piece of clothing, even a song, that reminds you of your future identity. Use it when you feel fear creeping in. Let it anchor you back to who you're becoming. This may sound small, but it's powerful. Because growth isn't about one big breakthrough. It's about daily alignment. Part 5. Why most people don't shift, and how you will. Let's pause here for a second and get real. If all of this is possible, if identity can be rewritten, if mindset can be reshaped, if the leap is right in front of us, why don't more people take it? Why do most people stay stuck in the same patterns year after year? The answer is simple and a little uncomfortable. Because staying the same feels safer than becoming someone new, even if your old version is unfulfilled. Even if you hate the job, the routine, the mental weight of staying small, it's familiar. And the brain loves familiarity. Most people aren't addicted to comfort. They're addicted to predictability. That's why your mind sends danger signals danger when you try to change, even for the better. It's not because you're broken. It's because your brain is doing its job, keeping you in what it knows. But here's the truth. You're not here to play small just because your nervous system prefers safety. You're here to grow, expand, evolve, and growth isn't always comfortable, but it's always worth it. So, if you're feeling resistance right, now that's good. That means you're at the edge of your comfort zone, and on the other side of that edge is your leap. Part 6, the bridge between now and next. Let's build something real here. Right now, there's a version of you listening to this, and there's a future version of you who already has what you want. Confidence, the purpose, the peace, the success, the fire. Now, I want you to imagine that future version of you crystal clear. What are they like? How do they walk into a room? How do they handle stress? What do they not tolerate anymore? What boundaries do they have? What routines do they stick to? Now, here's the big question. What would happen if you started acting like that version of you today? What would shift? Would you speak up more? Would you finally start the project? Would you stop saying yes to things that drain you? Would you take more significant risks? Would you stop waiting for permission? This bridges who you are now and who you're becoming. And every day, you either strengthen or weaken that bridge by how you think, speak, and act. Part 7. Mistakes are proof of movement. Let's take a moment to clear up something important. When you commit to shifting your mindset, it won't be perfect. You'll slip. You'll have off days. You might even feel like you're regressing. But listen to me closely. That doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're rebuilding. Old patterns don't go quietly. They test your decision to evolve. But that's where the real change happens. Not when everything feels easy, but when you keep going anyway. So if you mess up, good, you're moving. If you feel discomfort, good, you're stretching. If people around you don't get it, good, you're growing beyond your current environment. Quantum shifts aren't linear. They're messy, they're bold, they're disruptive, and that's precisely why they work. So when the doubts hit, the old identity creeps back in. Smile. That means you're getting close. Part 8. Daily quantum practices to cement the shift. All right. Now let's get even more practical. Here are 5 daily practices to help you rewire your mindset and live from your quantum identity. 1. The 10-minute identity lock-in. Each morning, take 10 minutes to speak and move like your highest self. Look in the mirror. Say out loud who you are. Visualize yourself crushing the day. Feel it in your body. This trains your mind to recognize that version of you as usual, not far away. 2. The power pause. 3 times a day, stop what you're doing and ask, am I acting from fear or my future self? This quick question creates conscious awareness, which is the key to change. 3. Win stacking. At the end of each day, write down 3 identity wins. Not just tasks completed, but actions aligned with your future self. Did you speak up when it was hard? Did you finish something instead of overthinking it? Did you say no to something that didn't align? Stack those wins. Let your brain see your evolution. 4. Pattern breaking. Catch yourself in a limiting habit and interrupt it. For example, procrastinating. Set a timer and do 5 minutes negative self-talk. Replace it immediately with a new statement. People-pleasing. Say no with love and walk away. Every break in the pattern creates a crack in the old identity, and that's where the light gets in. 5. Micro leaps. Every day, take one small action your old self would have avoided. Make the call, publish the post, apply for the opportunity, raise your rate. Ask for the room you deserve to be in. These aren't just tasks. They're evidence that you've already leaped. Part 9. Handling resistance from the outside world. You're doing the work. You're starting to think differently, act differently, and walk with a new kind of energy. But here's something most people don't prepare for. The resistance doesn't just come from within. It also comes from people around you. When you start shifting, some people won't like it. Not because they're bad or don't want you to grow, but because your growth challenges their comfort. They're used to you being a certain way. They're used to the old version of you. And when you change, it reflects something on them. It reminds them of the changes they haven't made yet. It stirs up fear, insecurity, and discomfort. So they might say things like, "You've changed. You're acting different. You're dreaming too big. Are you sure that's realistic?" Let me tell you something important. Your changing is not the problem. You stay small to keep other people comfortable. That's the problem. You weren't put here to make everyone else feel okay. You were put here to evolve, to expand, to lead yourself. So yes, some people will fall away. Some people won't understand the leap you're taking, and that's okay. Because the people who are meant to walk with the next version of you, they'll find you, or you'll find them, and it will feel lighter, more transparent, better. Let your growth attract your tribe. Don't shrink to match the room. Become the version of you that changes the room. Part 10. This is just the beginning. You've now laid the foundation. You've started to question old beliefs, to reclaim your identity, why step into future-based activities, understand resistance, practice accurate rewiring tools, and build alignment into your daily life. That's not surface-level growth. That's the beginning of a transformation that will change everything. But here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to make a massive leap all at once. You need to show up today and choose the next level version of you. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Today. That's the heartbeat of the quantum shift mindset. Choosing differently, consistently, and intentionally until that new version of you becomes normal, not forced, not temporary. Just who you are now. And as you live into this version of you, the world around you will catch up. People will feel it. Opportunities will be noticed. Momentum will build. And you'll look back one day and realize, this is exactly who I was meant to be all along. Your final reminder for Season 1. You don't need to hustle harder. You don't need to prove anything. You need to think like the version of you who already has what you want. To act like it's already yours and let go of the story that says you're not ready. Because here's the truth, you were never lacking potential. You were running an outdated identity. And now, you've upgraded the system. So stand tall, move boldly, speak powerfully, decide with clarity, because the leap is no longer ahead of you. You're already in it. Up next. Escaping the comfort cage. In the next chapter, we'll dive into one of the biggest reasons people stay stuck, even after they've done the mindset work. It's invisible, it's sneaky, and it feels so good that it can trap you for life. We're talking about comfort and how to break free from the cage keeping you small. Get ready, because of this next leap, it's going to set you free. Season 2. Escaping the comfort cage. What if the life you say you want is just one decision beyond your comfort zone? Let's start with a harsh truth. Not everyone stuck is lazy. Not everyone who plays small is unmotivated. Most people who never leap want to change. They're just trapped in the invisible cage called comfort. Comfort sounds nice, warm, safe, familiar. But if you're honest with yourself, you'll admit that comfort has a dark side. Because comfort is a liar. It convinces you that staying still is better than moving forward. It tells you, now isn't the right time. It whispers, why risk it? things aren't that bad. But deep down, you know better. You're not just meant to exist. You're meant to grow, to stretch, to build, to feel alive. In this chapter, we'll break down the comfort cage completely, piece by piece, and finally give you everything you need to walk out. Let's begin. Part 1, the silent trap. No one talks about. You know what's strange? Most people who are stuck don't even realize it. Why? Because everything seems fine. You have a decent routine. You're paying your bills. You've got a few goals. You're doing what's expected, but inside, you feel something is missing. You're uninspired. You're restless. You feel like you're capable of more, but can't seem to move. That, my friend, is what I call the comfort cage. It doesn't look like a trap. It looks like a routine. It feels like, I'm doing okay. It pretends to be peace, but it's stagnation dressed in cozy clothes. Let me say something directly to you. The comfort cage is the most dangerous place to live, because it won't destroy your life overnight. It'll quietly delay your greatness, one easy day at a time. And that slow drift, that's the real danger, because 5 years from now, you'll wake up in the same place, just more frustrated, more tired, more disconnected from your fire. But not you, because you're going to see it now and escape. Part 2. Why the brain loves the cage. Let's go a little deeper. Why do we stay comfortable, even when it's holding us back? The answer is rooted in biology. Your brain is designed to keep you safe, not successful. It's wired for survival. And comfort feels safe. Anything unfamiliar, risky, scary, potential danger. So when you start thinking about change, your brain hits the brakes. Start that business? What if you fail? Raise your prices? What if they laugh? Change careers? What if it doesn't work out? And just like that, the cage closes around you again. But here's the thing. You're not a cave person running from lions anymore. You're not surviving, you're evolving. And in today's world, the most significant danger is staying the same while everything around you changes. So, if your brain's natural setting is to resist discomfort, escaping the cage means leading your brain with intention. It means choosing discomfort on purpose, because that's where the growth is. Part 3, the real cost of comfort. Let's talk about something most people never calculate, the price of staying comfortable. Every time you choose comfort over courage, you pay with the following: momentum, confidence, clarity, potential, time. Let's break that down. 1. You lose momentum. Every day you delay action, it gets harder to start. The cage gets smaller, your belief shrinks, your energy fades. 2. You lose confidence. Comfort convinces you that you can't handle pressure. So when life does get tough, you feel unprepared, because you haven't built resilience. 3. You lose clarity. Comfort dulls your vision. Your dream feels foggy because you're not moving toward it. You stop asking bold questions and start settling for survival mode. 4. You lose potential. Every minute spent in the cage is a minute you could have been building the life you truly want. And no, it's not too late. But the longer you wait, the more ground you'll have to cover. 5. You lose time, and time is the one thing you don't get back. Let that sink in. Part 4. The moment everything changes. Let me tell you something powerful. There's always a moment, one moment, when everything begins to shift. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. Others do not even see it. It's quiet. It happens in your mind. It's the moment you say, I'm done. I'm done making excuses. Done staying small. I'm done calling this cage my comfort zone when it's just a slower kind of failure. That moment is a decision, and decisions are the birthplace of all change. You don't escape the comfort cage by waiting. You don't ease out slowly over time. You decide. And that decision, when made with clarity and emotion, carries more power than 100 motivational videos. So I want to ask you something, right? Now, have you made that decision yet? Or are you still negotiating with fear? If you feel something rising inside you, something saying, "This isn't it, I'm meant for more," then your decision is close. That's the edge. That's the beginning of the leap. Now let's get practical. Part 5. How to break out of the comfort cage, step by step. All right, now that we've cracked open the mental lock, let's break the bars one by one. Here are 6 steps to help you escape your comfort zone without losing your footing, but with momentum. Step 1. Identify the cage. You can't escape what you haven't named. Ask yourself, what area of my life feels too safe, easy, or routine? Where have I stopped growing? What part of my life am I managing instead of expanding? It could be your job, your relationships, your body, your beliefs, even your self-talk. Could you write it down, face it directly? Because awareness is power. Step 2. Define what's on the other side. Now picture this. If you weren't held back by comfort, what would your life look like? How would you show up? What risks would you take? What habits would you build? What conversations would you stop avoiding? What goals would finally come to life? Paint that vision with clarity. Because if your dream isn't more compelling than your comfort, you'll always stay put. Step 3. Find your discomfort edge. You don't need to leap into fire. You need to stretch. Your comfort edge is that space where it feels a little scary, but still doable. Making the call. Publishing the video saying no to something draining. Saying yes to something unknown. Find one edge, lean into it, stretch, but don't snap. That's the sweet spot for real growth. Step 4. Stack small wins. Here's where confidence is built, not by crushing giant goals, but by stacking small victories. Each time you take action outside your comfort zone, even if it's tiny, you're teaching your nervous system a new story. You're showing yourself, "See, I didn't die. I can handle this." And over time, that story becomes the truth. It becomes an identity, and identity creates consistency. Step 5. Reframe the fear. Your fear isn't the enemy. Your fear is feedback. It's your system saying, "This is new. Be alert." But fear doesn't mean stop. It means paying attention. Here's a powerful reframe. Fear is just a sign that you're stepping into growth. Comfort equals the past. Fear equals the future. So welcome it. Thank it. And move forward with it, not around it. Step 6. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Most people give up because they expect perfection. But this isn't about doing everything right. It's about doing something different consistently. So when you stretch outside the cage, celebrate it. When you choose courage over silence, when you show up even if it's messy, when you say yes to alignment and no to settling, that's victory. Mark it, own it, let it fuel the next step. Part 6. The pullback. How comfort tries to sneak you back. This happens to almost everyone who begins escaping their comfort zone. Right after you stretch, grow, or take a leap, your mind tries to pull you back in. It might sound like, "Okay, that was enough for now. Let's go back to what we know. See, that was scary. Let's never do that again." You push too far. Don't risk messing it up. This is normal. It's your old identity fighting to survive. Because every time you stretch, it feels like a threat to the version of you built to survive the past. Let's say you grew up believing success is for other people, not for someone like you. So now that you're finally acting successful, setting goals, building momentum, that old belief starts panicking. Because if you succeed, that story dies. So what does it do? It tries to pull you back to safety, to who you used to be, through procrastination, overwhelm, distraction, self-doubt. This is where most people fall, but not you, because now you can see it. Now you know it's not the truth. It's just resistance in disguise. And when you name it, you weaken it. When you move through it, you rewrite it. So next time you feel that pull, don't panic, smile. That means you're growing. Part 7. What life feels like. Outside the cage. Let's fast forward for a moment. What happens when you live outside your comfort zone? When do you stop choosing easy and start choosing alignment? Everything changes. You feel awake, clear, bold, alive. You begin to trust yourself more. You stop needing approval. You stop apologizing for your dreams. You begin to take action even when it's uncomfortable. And that's when the magic happens. People start noticing. Opportunities start flowing. Momentum builds fast. You start walking into rooms differently. Your voice changes. Your posture shifts. Your energy leads. And you realize, I was never stuck. I was just stuck in a story about who I thought I had to be. Now, you're rewriting the story, one bold move at a time. Part 8. Living beyond the cage. Every day. Escaping the comfort zone isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily lifestyle. You'll be tempted to slip back in, to settle, to say, this is good enough. But you'll also remember this feeling, the clarity, the confidence, the power of growth. And every day you'll have a choice, stay in the cage and slowly shrink or stretch beyond it and slowly rise. The choice won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. So here's your daily question. Am I choosing comfort today, or am I choosing my future? Ask it every morning. Answer honestly, then act accordingly, because the life you want is not hiding in your comfort zone. It's waiting on the other side. Part 9. Final reflections. This is where you rise. So here we are. You've now seen the comfort cage for what it is, an illusion, a trap that keeps good people stuck in average lives, a trick that uses safety to block greatness. But now you've got the tools to rise. You've named your cage, reclaimed your vision, identified your discomfort edge, learned how to reframe fear, built a strategy to move forward, and discovered how to live beyond the limits. You are no longer someone who wants to grow. You are someone who chooses it. And this is just the beginning. Because once you've escaped the cage, you're free to build anything you want, with boldness, with energy, with alignment, with purpose. So the question is no longer, can I do it? The question is, now that I'm free, what will I create? Up next, identity hacking for limitless growth. In the next chapter, we'll dive deep into something powerful, your identity. You'll finally learn to rewire who you think you are to unlock who you're meant to become. Because escaping the comfort zone isn't enough. You've got to build a new identity strong enough to hold the life you're about to create. Let's go. Season 3. Identity hacking for limitless growth. What if the version of you that you're trying to become is already inside you, waiting to be activated? Let's start this chapter with a reality check. You don't rise to the level of your potential. You rise, or fall, to the level of your identity. And that's what makes identity the most essential part of this entire transformation. Because you can change your habits. You can build better systems. You can read all the books and follow every strategy. But if your identity still says, I'm not enough, you will always find a way to shrink back to the old you. That's not because you're weak. It's because your brain is loyal to who you believe you are. So in this chapter, we're going to upgrade that belief. Not with hype, but with fundamental tools, real shifts, and actual ownership. This is identity hacking. Once you master it, everything becomes more manageable. Let's dive in. Part 1. why identity is the real engine of your life. You are not your goals. You are not your habits. You are not even your personality. Those are just expressions of your identity. And identity is the story you tell yourself about who you are. That story, whether empowering or limiting, runs the show. It decides, what do you say yes to? What do you say no to? How much money you believe you can earn? How much love do you think you deserve? How big you're allowed to dream? It's the root code of your life. Most people focus on surface-level change. I need to be more disciplined. I need to stop procrastinating. I need to speak up more. But they never ask, what kind of person do I believe I am? Beneath all that. Because if your identity says, I'm not someone who finishes what they start, then no matter how many productivity tools you use, you'll sabotage. If your identity says, I'm just not a confident person, then no matter how many affirmations you repeat, you'll hold back when it matters. So here's the first significant shift of this chapter. You don't need a better routine, you need a better self-concept. Let's build that. Part 2, how identity is formed and how to break the old one. Your current identity didn't just appear, it was built, brick by brick, over the years. And it came from what you were told growing up, what you saw people around you believe. What did you succeed or fail at? What society labeled you as what you decided was true after something painful happened? So maybe you failed once, and now believe you're incapable. Or someone told you you're too much, so now you shrink in every room. Or you grew up around scarcity, so now you think abundance isn't for people like you. Here's the thing. Most of the stories that created your identity were lies. They were small truths that got stretched into lifelong beliefs. Now it's time to rewrite them. How? By doing what we call identity auditing. It starts like this. Ask yourself, what do I believe about myself in this area of life? Money, confidence, love, creativity, discipline, etc. Then ask, where did that belief come from? Is it 100% true? Who would I be without this belief? These questions pull the roots out of old identities, the ones that have quietly dictated your choices for years. And once the root is exposed, it can be replaced. That's where we start hacking. Part 3. Identity hacking. Becoming the person who already has what you want. Let's flip the script. Most people say, once I'm successful, I'll feel confident. Once I lose the weight, I'll feel worthy. Once I get the money, I'll feel powerful. But quantum leap thinkers flip it around. They say, I'll feel confident now, and that's how I'll become successful. I'll act like I'm worthy now, and that's how I'll transform. I'll carry the energy of abundance now, and that's how the money will come. They don't wait for results to earn a new identity. They embody that identity before the results arrive. That's the real power of identity hacking. It's not faking it, it's faithing it. It's choosing to lead from who you want to become, not who you used to be. So ask yourself this right now. What kind of person already has the life I want? How do they think? How do they speak? What do they do differently every single day? Now, here's the leap. Start doing those things now, in small ways, in private, before anyone even notices. Because the day you stop trying to earn your future and start living from it, it starts to become real. Part 4. Building your new identity. The daily method. Now we get practical. Here's a step-by-step method to help your listeners install a new identity from the inside out. Step 1. Choose your future identity. Pick one area of your life to focus on. Let's say it's confidence, or wealth, or discipline. Now, Write a single powerful identity statement like, I am a bold and magnetic speaker. I am a calm and wealthy leader. I am disciplined and focused every day. Keep it short, clear, embodied. This is the new core code you're installing. Step 2. Morning identity conditioning. Look in the mirror every morning and make your identity statement out loud. Say it like you mean it, even if it initially feels weird. Then ask, what's one thing this version of me would do today? Then do it. It could be small. Send a message, record a video, say no, raise your price, speak up. Each aligned action is a brick in the new identity. Step 3. Identity journaling. At night, reflect. Ask, where did I act in alignment today? Where did I shrink back into my old self? What would I do differently tomorrow? This isn't for shame. It's for awareness. Because what you observe, you can change. Step 4. Repeat until it's normal. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is consistency. Your brain builds belief through repetition, not drama. Living this new identity every day, even imperfectly, becomes your default. Not a stretch. Not a performance. Just who you are now. And once you are the person who lives that life, the life has to show up. It's not magic. It's alignment. Part 5. Avoiding the old identity traps. Here's something most people never see coming. Even when you start living as your new identity, your old identity won't go quietly. It'll try to sneak back in through the side door. Let's talk about the most common ways that happen and how to stop it. Trap number 1. The who do you think you are? Voice. You start leveling up, and suddenly that voice pops up. You're not the kind of person who does this. You've never been this confident before. Don't get cocky. People are going to think you're pretending. This voice is your old identity panicking. It doesn't mean anything's wrong. It means you're leaving your past behind, and your ego hates that. Here's the move. Don't argue with the voice. Don't fight it. Just say, thanks for trying to protect me, but we're not doing that anymore. Then act anyway. You rewire the system whenever you choose a new action over old programming. Trap number 2. Waiting for external proof. Your brain will want proof before it believes the new story. It'll say, see, no one noticed. This isn't working. You tried once. Where's the success? Maybe you're just fooling yourself. But that's not how identity works. You don't wait for the evidence. You become the evidence. You act first. And then, slowly, powerfully, the world catches up. Trust the delay. Your new identity is real, even if nobody sees it yet. Trap 3. Holding on to old roles. People around you sometimes try to keep you in the old identity. Friends might say, you've changed. Family might get uncomfortable. Co-workers might tease your ambition. It's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because your growth is a mirror, and not everyone is ready to see themselves. Let them have their reaction. But you keep building. You keep leading. You keep showing up as the version of you that the future needs, not the past. This is your life, not their comfort zone. Part 6. The power of micro shifts. Let's bring it down to real life again. You don't need to burn everything down to build a new identity. You don't need to start from zero. You don't even need to announce anything to anyone. You need to commit to micro shifts every single day. Let me give you examples. The old you avoid the complicated conversation. The new you speak up calmly and clearly. The old you hits snooze. The new you gets up and moves purposefully, even if it's just stretching. The old you overthink every idea. The new you take 5 minutes, write it down, and make the first call. The old you wait for the right moment. The new you create the moment. You get the idea. Each micro shift is a vote for the person you're becoming. And enough votes? That's when identity becomes automatic. That's when you stop trying to be someone new and just are. Part 7. Your Identity Blueprint. Let's make this accurate and repeatable. Here's your daily identity blueprint. Encourage your listeners to follow it, even just for a week, and they'll feel the shift. Morning. Say your identity statement out loud. In the mirror, if possible. Ask, what's one thing I can do today that reflects this identity? Do it before noon. Midday. Pause. Reflect. Ask, am I showing up as the old or new me? Realign if needed. Evening. Journal 3 moments you showed up as your future self. 1 moment where you fell back, and what you learned. 1 intention for tomorrow. That's it. Small, powerful, repeatable. The kind of daily system that doesn't just change what you do, but who you are becoming. Final thoughts. You're already becoming. Let's close this chapter with the most important reminder of all. You're not building a fake version of you. You remember who you are, underneath all the noise, fear, and limitation. You're not trying to be something different. You're just stepping into the person you were always meant to be, and it won't happen overnight. Some days you'll feel the shift fully. On other days, you'll question everything. But every time you choose courage over comfort, every time you act from your future instead of your past, every time you speak, move, and think like the version of you who already has the life you want, you're rewriting the story. You're upgrading the code. You're leaping, not by force, but by frequency, not with pressure, but with identity. This is what fundamental transformation looks like. It's not loud. It's consistent. It's embodied. And now that you've started, there's no going back. Up next, collapse time with bold action. In the next chapter, we'll take everything you've built, the mindset, the courage, the identity, and move with it. You'll learn to take fast, bold action that collapses years of progress into weeks. You'll stop overthinking and start moving, not out of fear, but from power. Because momentum doesn't come from being ready. It comes from being in motion. Let's keep building. Season 4, Collapse Time with Bold Action. What if the success you think is 5 years away is 5 decisions away? Let's begin with something radical. You've been told success takes time, that you have to be patient, that growth is slow, linear, and primarily out of your control. But what if I told you that's not always true? Because time doesn't move the same way for everyone. Some people wait 5 years to make one decision, and others make 5 bold moves that redefine their lives in 6 months. The difference? It's not luck. It's not a privilege. It's not hustle. It's bold, aligned action, taken at the right moment, with the right mindset, from the correct identity. In this chapter, you'll learn how to collapse time, not by rushing, but by moving purposefully. This is the season where thinking stops and motion begins. Let's go. Part 1. Action is the real catalyst. Let's make something clear. Nothing happens until you move. You can journal, you can visualize, you can meditate, manifest, and even pray. But if you don't act, you stay where you are. The truth is clarity doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. Let me say that again. You don't need to have it all figured out before you start. You need to start, and the clarity will appear along the way. We grow through doing, not just thinking. Yet most people delay action, waiting for a feeling. They say, when I'm ready, I'll start. When I feel confident, I'll launch. When I have more experience, I'll apply. But those feelings don't come before the leap. They come after. Confidence isn't a requirement. Movement is. So from now on, we shift the equation. You act, you adjust, you grow, you repeat. That's how you collapse time. Part 2. The myth of perfect timing. Let's destroy one of the biggest lies that keeps people stuck. Now's not the right time. We say it all the time, don't we? Once the kids are older, when things slow down at work, after I get through this month. But here's the secret. There is never a perfect time. There's just now, and not now. For every bold leap you're avoiding today, your future self will wish you started sooner. Because time is either your excuse or your advantage. And the people who collapse time? They don't wait for perfect. They start with what they have. They move even when it's messy. They lead even when it's uncomfortable. And that's precisely what sets them apart. They're not better. They're just bolder. Part 3. The 3 types of bold action. Not all action is equal. Some actions keep you busy, some actions maintain the past, but bold action pulls your future into the present. Let's break it down. There are 3 types of bold action. 1. The leap. This is the big one. The moment you make the call, launch the business, change the relationship, quit the job, raise your standards, and life shifts instantly. It's scary, it's risky, but it's also incredibly freeing. This is the kind of move that creates stories. It's where you say, that's when everything changed. But it's not the only kind of action that matters. 2. The line in the sand. This is quieter, but just as powerful. It's the moment you say, I won't tolerate this anymore. I don't break promises to myself. I'm done shrinking for other people. You draw a line. You hold the standard. You lead yourself. No one else may see it, but it rebuilds your identity from the inside out. 3. The daily disruption. This is what creates momentum. It's not dramatic. It's consistent. Speaking when you typically stay silent, showing up when you don't feel like it, saying no when people tempt you, posting the content, making the pitch, asking the question, sending the email. These small daily acts build unstoppable motion. And when done, consistently, they collapse time faster than anything else. Part 4. Why we avoid bold action and how to break the pattern. Let's be honest. If bold action creates fast results, why don't we take it more often? Because bold action activates fear. It threatens the ego. It risks judgment, discomfort, and rejection. And your brain is wired to avoid that. So instead of acting boldly, plan endlessly, watch more tutorials, organize the to-do list again, wait for the right sign, ask for feedback. Again, it feels productive. But really, it's a sophisticated form of hiding. Here's what you need to hear. Perfection is fear in a fancy outfit. You don't need more research. You don't need another pep talk. You need to move. To help you do that, here are 4 powerful mindset shifts that dissolve resistance and unlock your boldness. Part 5. The 4 shifts that unlock boldness. Shift 1. Act before you feel ready. Most people think they need courage first, then action. Wrong. Action creates courage. Every time you move before you feel ready, your nervous system adapts. You teach your mind, I can handle this. Think of it like jumping into a cold pool. You never feel ready, but once you're in, you adjust. And the fear disappears. That's how action works. So stop waiting to feel ready. The feeling comes after the leap. Shift 2. Redefine failure. We're so afraid of failure that we avoid the actions that create breakthroughs. But what if failure wasn't something to fear, but proof you're playing big? Look around. What are the most successful people you admire? They failed more than you ever tried, because they saw failure as feedback, not identity. So here's the new rule. Fail faster, learn sooner, move again. That's how you collapse years of struggle into months of mastery. Shift 3. Shrink. The risk not the dream. Bold action doesn't have to be reckless. You can take bright, aligned risks that move you forward without blowing everything up. If the big leap feels terrifying, shrink the move, not the vision. Examples: not ready to quit your job, launch the side project, not ready to go live, record a voice memo and post it, not prepared to run a marathon, walk 1 mile a day. Progress isn't about the size of the step. It's about the direction and the consistency. Start where you are. Use what you have. Move anyway. Shift 4. Make boldness your baseline. This is the ultimate shift. Bold action becomes easy when it becomes routine. How? By choosing boldness daily, in small, repeated ways. Choose the honest answer over the polite lie. Choose the first step instead of the perfect plan. Choose the room that stretches you, not the one that praises you. The more often you choose boldness, the more it becomes your default identity. Soon, it won't feel bold anymore. It'll just feel like you. Part 6. Real-life boldness. Stories that collapse time. Let's bring this to life with a few real-world examples, the stories your listeners will feel in their guts. The designer who dared. A young graphic designer was tired of being stuck with low-paying clients. Everyone told her to work her way up and be patient, but instead, she made one bold decision. She rebranded her entire identity online, created a one-page offer for high-end clients and messaged 10 people she admired, cold. 9 ignored her. 1 responded. That one client turned into a $50,000 opportunity. Time collapsed. One bold action changed everything. The speaker who was terrified. He was a great communicator, privately. But when it came to sharing his voice online, he froze. So instead of planning forever, he made a deal with himself. Every day for 30 days, I'll post one imperfect short video, no matter what. The first 5 videos were shaky. The lighting was terrible. He cringed. But on day 12, a video went semi-viral. He got a speaking inquiry, then 2 more, then 5. Now he speaks full-time, not because he planned it perfectly, but because he moved. The single mother who refused to wait. She worked 2 jobs, exhausted, living paycheck to paycheck. But she had an idea, a simple service she could sell online. Everyone told her to be careful. Instead, she stayed up, late for 2 weeks building her offer, created a landing page with free tools, and launched it to her tiny email list. Only 12 people bought it. But those 12, they gave her the confidence to keep going, and within 6 months, her online income surpassed both jobs. Time didn't change. She changed, and time responded. Part 7. Time isn't the problem. Hesitation is if there's one thing you take from this chapter, let it be this: time is not your enemy. Inaction is. The most significant delays in your life don't come from external barriers. They come from waiting for permission, waiting for signs, waiting for the fear to disappear, waiting until it's the right time. But what if there is no right time? What if the act of moving is what makes the timing right? Your dream doesn't need more time, it needs a bold move. And the best part, you don't have to do it all today. You need to do something today. And keep doing it tomorrow. That's how time bends. That's how lives change. That's how quantum leaps happen. Part 8. Your bold action blueprint. To ensure you never slip back into delay. Here's a simple daily practice to help your listeners stay in motion. Morning. Morning. Ask one question. What's one bold action I can take today that my future self will thank me for? Could you write it down? Do it first. Midday pause, reflect, ask, am I in motion or my head? If you're stuck, take one micro action, even if it's messy. Evening. Journal these 3 prompts. What bold action did I take today? What resistance showed up? And how did I respond? What will I boldly do tomorrow? That's it. This isn't about hype, it's about momentum, and when you live this way, life meets you halfway. Then it starts running toward you. Part 9. Final words. This is your moment. Look, you've done the mindset work. You've broken through the comfort cage. You've reprogrammed your identity. Now it's time to move. No more waiting. No more rehearsing. No more one day. Because boldness creates space for miracles. And the moment you take action from your future, the universe responds. You'll start seeing things that used to feel years away. Showing up now. Doors will open, energy will rise, people will notice, because when you move boldly, you move differently, and life recognizes that vibration. So here's your invitation. Collapse time. Not with panic, not with pressure, but with power. Decide today that you're done watching, you're done rehearsing, you're done living on the edge of almost now. Now you leap. And trust this, bold action, repeated with intention, creates impossible results faster than you ever imagined. Up next, mastering the frequency of success. In the next chapter, we go beyond action. We explore how your energy, emotion, and internal frequency shape the outcomes you attract. Because it's not just about doing big things, it's about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts significant outcomes. We'll explore how to tune your mindset, habits, and emotions to operate at the highest frequency of success, so results stop feeling forced and start flowing. Let's level up. Season 5. Mastering the frequency of success. Have you ever noticed how some people attract success without forcing it? They walk into a room and things shift. They speak and people lean in. Opportunities land in their lap, almost like the universe is working with them. And then there are others, good people, who work hard, stay disciplined, do everything right, and still feel stuck, blocked, invisible. What's the difference? It's not just action. It's not luck. It's not even timing. It's frequency. There is a frequency, a vibration, an energy that successful people operate on. It's not always loud. It's not always intense, but it's powerful. It's magnetic. It's unmistakable. And the truth is, you can learn to master that frequency too. This chapter isn't about doing more, it's about tuning in deeper. Because when you operate at the right internal frequency, things begin to flow, not because life gets more manageable, but because you become aligned. Let's tune in. Success is not something you chase, it's something you align with. That might sound like a motivational poster, but let me explain. You are already broadcasting a signal. Every thought, emotion, and belief you carry sends a vibration. And that vibration attracts people, experiences, and results that match it. If you're vibrating at doubt, fear, and hesitation, the world responds with resistance, delays, and closed doors. Not because you're cursed, but because the outside always reflects the inside. But something shifts when you begin to operate from clarity, conviction, peace, and deep self-worth. Suddenly, you're not pushing anymore. You're pulling. You're not forcing people to see your value. They feel it. You're not begging the universe to deliver. It already knows where to find you. That's frequency. And the best part, you don't need to become someone else to access it. You need to remember who you are beneath all the noise. There was a man. He wasn't rich, famous, or particularly connected. But people kept saying things like, "I don't know what it is about you, but I just trust you." Doors opened. Projects found him. Deals flowed his way. One day, a friend asked him, "What's your secret?" He smiled and said, "I stopped trying to look important. I started feeling important. I stopped needing to convince the world. I just decided I was already enough." That's frequency. He wasn't louder. He wasn't more skilled. He was just tuned into a version of himself the world couldn't ignore. Let's pause for a second. Think about your energy right now. Not your tasks, not your to-do list, just your state. How are you feeling? Honestly? Do you feel rushed, heavy, pressured, anxious? Or do you feel grounded, present, clear? Are you carrying the energy of someone who trusts life or trying to outrun it? Because here's what most people miss. Your emotional state is more important than your strategy. You can have the best plan in the world, but if you're moving from desperation, fear, or panic, the results will never feel right. People can sense your energy before they understand your words. The energy in your voice, your presence, and your decisions create trust and flow. And when you shift your frequency, everything else begins to move with it. Do you want to know how to change your frequency? It starts by asking one question. What would I feel right now if I already had the life I want? Not next year, not someday, but today, in this moment. If you already had the income, the relationship, the peace, the confidence, what would you feel? Relief, joy, stillness, power, playfulness. Now, permit yourself to feel it now, not because you're faking it, but because you're creating it. You don't wait for success to give you peace. You give yourself peace, which makes success stick when it arrives. This is the hidden art of collapsing time, not by working faster, but by vibrating higher. Most people try to grind their way to success. They say things like, if I just push harder, I'll get there. If I stay busy, I'll feel better. If I force it long enough, the breakthrough will come. But here's the problem. Grinding without alignment creates burnout. You might get results, but you'll be exhausted, disconnected, and constantly anxious that it all will fall apart. Because deep down, you know you didn't build it from peace. You built it from pressure. But when you operate from absolute, grounded, internal frequency, you don't chase, you don't cling, you don't scramble, you create, you receive, you lead. You move from a different place, a place of wholeness instead of hunger. And that's when success stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a reflection, not of what you do, but of who you are. Picture this. You walk into a room full of people more experienced than you. You've never been there before. You're the outsider, but instead of shrinking, something in you is calm, steady, aligned. You're not faking confidence. You are confident, not because of your resume, but because you remember who you are. And in that moment, people feel something. They don't know your whole story. They don't know what you've built, but they lean in. They listen. They feel your energy. That's not charisma. That's frequency. It's not louder. It's just more straightforward. Because you're not trying to become something. You're broadcasting something you've already chosen to believe. That's the secret. Frequency isn't about being perfect. It's about being in tune. And when you're in tune, the right people find you. The right ideas land. The right timing unfolds without forcing it. But let's be honest, you won't always feel aligned. You won't always wake up buzzing with peace and purpose. Some days you'll doubt, you'll scroll, you'll compare, you'll slip back into survival mode, and that's okay. You don't need to be high frequency 24/7. You need to return to alignment faster than you used to. That's mastery. So when you feel off, don't shame yourself. Don't spiral. Just pause and ask, what frequency am I operating on right now? And is it aligned with the life I want to create? Then shift it. Not with a massive life change, but with a micro move, a breath, a walk, a moment of gratitude, a call to someone who reminds you who you are, a break from the noise, a choice that realigns your inner world, even just a little. That's what it means to master frequency. It's not about staying high, it's about staying aware. And awareness is power. I want to tell you something you might not hear often enough. You don't need to do more to be worthy of success. You don't need to become someone else to feel powerful, finally. You don't need to wait until you've earned it to stand tall. You are allowed to feel powerful now. You are allowed to walk into rooms with presence now. You are allowed to move like you belong, because you do. You can carry peace in your chest, even if everything around you still looks messy. You can believe what's meant for you is on its way, without panic, chasing, or rushing. Because when you operate from that energy, you don't just attract success. You amplify it, you sustain it, you multiply it. You become the kind of person success wants to stick to. That's the difference between chasing a moment and building a movement. And you, my friend, are building something far more significant than a moment. There comes a moment in every transformation where you stop asking, how do I get what I want? And instead you ask, who must I become to attract what I want naturally? That's the moment you shift from pressure to power, from reaching to radiating, from doubt to embodiment. And the more often you return to that frequency, the one rooted in your truth, your calm, your entire presence, the more life responds with grace. Because you're no longer vibrating from fear, lack, or noise. You're vibrating from self-trust, from sufficiency, from authentic, grounded abundance. It's not about being loud, it's about being precise. The world responds to clear people, and you become clear not by trying harder, but by tuning in to your values, to your truth, to your worth, the kind that doesn't need to be earned, just remembered. When you walk through life like that, your decisions change, your boundaries sharpen, your relationships evolve, and success doesn't have to be hunted down. It finds you, because success is always listening. When it hears someone broadcasting clarity, certainty, peace, and power, it moves toward it like a magnet. You don't chase what you are. So now, as you close this chapter, take a breath. Check in with yourself. Where's your frequency at? Not your goals, not your calendar, not your notifications. You. Are you tense or trusting, closed or open, grasping or grounded? And if the answer doesn't match the life you say you want, don't panic. Just adjust the dial. Come back to stillness. Come back to the truth. Come back to the version of you that already knows who they are without proof. That's where the power is. That's where the magic starts. And that's the frequency that changes everything. Up next, high-velocity habits and systems. Now that your frequency is aligned, building the systems that lock it in is time. Because energy creates momentum, but habits maintain it. In the next chapter, you'll discover how to design daily routines and inner disciplines that move faster, with less friction and more flow. So that boldness becomes natural, confidence becomes automatic. High-level performance becomes your baseline, not your breakthrough. You're not just tuning in anymore, you're locking in. Let's build the engine behind your transformation. Season 6, High-Velocity Habits and Systems. There's a moment in every leap, right after the clarity kicks in, the energy rises, and the new identity starts taking root. When everything seems possible, you feel inspired, focused, connected. But then comes real life. The stress, the noise, the schedule, the doubts, and suddenly you slip. Not because you're weak, not because you're broken, but because you didn't have the infrastructure to support your new frequency. This separates a moment of transformation from a lifestyle of transformation. It's not how inspired you feel after the chapter ends. It's what you do consistently when no one's watching. And that's what this season is all about. Not motivation, not mindset, mechanics, the systems, the routines, the inner frameworks that keep your energy clean, your actions consistent, and your vision alive, even on the hard days. Because motivation is loud, but systems are loyal. They don't care if you're tired. They don't need hype. They just run in the background, pulling you forward, whether you feel ready or not. That's the real quantum leap. Not waking up in the mood, but with momentum already built into your day. Let's build it. Let's start with a truth most people ignore. Your systems shape your current life, whether you designed them or not. Every result you're getting is coming from a system. If you're constantly overwhelmed, that's a system. If you're distracted all the time, that's a system. If you feel tired, reactive, or inconsistent, that's a system too. They may be unconscious, they ended, but they're systems. And the only way to change your life sustainably is to upgrade those systems intentionally. You don't need to try harder, you need to build smarter. Let me tell you something game-changing. You are not your habits. You are the architect of your habits. This means that starting today, you can become the kind of person who automatically follows through, focuses deeply, protects their energy, and finishes what they start. Not through discipline alone, but through design. It's not about waking up daily and saying, "I hope I have enough willpower." It's about creating an inside and outside environment that makes success your default. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your systems. So the question becomes, what are you falling back on? When you're tired, distracted, emotional, or stretched thin, that's the moment your real systems show up. And in this chapter, we will rebuild them from the inside out. Don't start with your goals if you want to change your life. Start with your defaults. How you wake up, what you reach for first. The way you speak to yourself when no one else hears it. What do you do when you're bored, tired, or unmotivated? Because it's not the big decisions that shape your life, and it's the small, automatic ones you make 100 times a day without even noticing. That's where the fundamental shift happens. Not by doing more, but by doing the right things automatically. This is what we call building high-velocity habits. Habits that require less mental effort, align with your highest self, move you forward without thinking about it, create a sense of identity, not an obligation. It's the difference between dragging yourself toward a result and being pulled forward by who you've become. So let's talk about how to build them. Start with one question. What would the most focused, grounded, energized version of me do daily? Don't complicate it. Just answer from intuition. You might hear. Wake up earlier. Cut screen time. Walk outside every day. Stop saying yes when you mean no. Plan the night before. Finish things instead of perfecting them. Eat better. Speak better. Move better. Now take the top two. Don't try to change your life overnight. Start building systems around those two habits. We're not aiming for motivation. We're aiming for automation. Make it easier to do the right thing and harder to do the wrong. That's the rule. Do you want to eat healthier? Don't rely on willpower at 9 p.m. Prep your food when your energy is high. Do you want to focus better? Remove the distractions before the work session begins. Do you want to move your body every morning? Before you go to bed, lay out your clothes the night before. No decision fatigue. These aren't hacks, they're levers. And when used properly, they shift your default behavior permanently. Let me tell you something few people will. Discipline is overrated. Design is underrated. We love the idea of the grind, the hustle, the wake up at 4 a.m. legend. But actual high performers don't run on brute force. They run on rhythm. They don't need to fight their habits, because they built ones they don't have to fight. That's what we're after. Less friction, more flow. Do you want to create content? Build a rhythm around it. Same time, same energy, same tools. Want to grow your business? Schedule bold action into your week. Don't wait for courage to magically show up. Do you want to protect your peace? Block off white space on your calendar like it's sacred, because it is. High-velocity systems remove the guesswork. They say, here's what I do when I do it, how I do it, and who I am while doing it. No drama, no doubt. Make decisions in advance, so your higher self always wins, even on your worst day. You don't need to keep chasing consistency. You need to become the kind of person who doesn't have to think about it anymore. Because when your habits are aligned with your identity, when your systems are aligned with your energy, and when your days are aligned with your vision, success doesn't feel like a fight. It feels like flow. You wake up, and the path is already evident. You know what to do. You know who you are while doing it. And you no longer need external pressure to stay in motion. You've created internal systems that do the pushing for you. That's what high velocity means. Not doing more, but doing less with more impact, more clarity, more alignment. It means building a life that moves forward, even when your motivation doesn't. And if you're thinking right now, but I've tried to build routines before, I always fall off. Let me tell you something important. You didn't fail. You just built systems based on force, not frequency. Systems built from guilt will always collapse, but systems built from self-respect, from clarity, from alignment, they stick because they're a reflection of who you are becoming. So here's the truth. You don't need to copy someone else's routine. You don't need the perfect planner or a miracle app. You need to answer this question every night. What's one small thing I can design into tomorrow that makes the highest version of me easier to live? That's it. One move, one microstructure, one better default. Because of those tiny pieces, they stack. And over time, they build something unstoppable. So as this chapter ends, remember this. You're not lazy. You're not inconsistent. You're not unmotivated. You're just a powerful human being, finally, learning to support themselves at scale. You're not building habits anymore. You're building infrastructure for your next level. From now on, success doesn't have to be something you push toward. It's the direction your systems are already pointing. Up next, the final leap, building a life beyond limits. Now that your identity is apparent, your energy is aligned, and your systems are strong, there's only one thing left: integration. In the final chapter, we're going beyond success, beyond habits, beyond transformation. We're entering a new way of living, where nothing is off limits, and everything you desire becomes not just possible, but expected. This isn't the end of the journey. It's the beginning of the life that was waiting for you all along. Let's leap. Season 7, the final leap, building a life beyond limits. There's a moment in every journey when you realize you're not just chasing a goal anymore. You've become someone else. Not because you've added more, but because you've stripped away everything that wasn't you. The noise, the fear, the old roles, the borrowed dreams, the unconscious limits, they don't fit anymore. And what's left, what remains, is someone powerful, calm, alive, and finally ready. This is that moment. You've done the inner work. You've built the structure. You've aligned your identity, your energy, your systems, and now you don't need a map. You are the map. This chapter is not about giving you more information. It's about handing you the keys to a life where limits are no longer assumed. They're examined and often erased. Because the truth is, you've always been capable. You've always had what it takes. You were just told to wait, to prove, to shrink, to doubt, to earn what was already inside you, but not anymore, not after this. If there's one thing you remember from this entire audiobook, let it be this. Nothing changes until you decide it must. Not hope, not intention, not even desire. Decision. The moment you say, this is who I am now, this is how I live. This is the level I operate at. No fallback. No maybe. There is no exit plan. That's when the leap happens. Not from your legs, but from your being. That's when life starts to respond differently. That's when people start to treat you differently. That's when opportunities, resources, timing, and momentum collide, because you've finally matched them. Success was never far away. It was just waiting for you to become undeniable. You don't need to become someone new. You need to become fully available to the truth buried underneath survival. The truth that says, you're not meant to be stuck. You're not here to settle. You're not supposed to fit in. You're not too much. You're not too late. You're not broken. You're a force that forgot its name for a little while. A leader who started playing the follower role out of habit. A creator that started reacting instead of building. But deep down, you've always known there's more. And now, you're ready to meet it. You're no longer waiting for the world to permit you. You're claiming territory. You're taking up space. You're showing up on purpose, not just when it's easy or convenient, but especially when it isn't. Because greatness isn't something you stumble into by accident. You choose to carry it, even when the mirror hasn't caught up yet. And the people who build lives beyond limits, they don't ask, what's realistic? They ask, what's possible? Then they move like the answer is already yes. They don't wait to be picked, they pick themselves. Let's bring this even closer now. You've listened, you've reflected, you've imagined. But now, you decide. This moment, right here, is not the end of the audiobook. It's the birth of a new chapter in your life. This is where the versions of you that played small fade. This is where the waiting ends. This is where the power returns to its rightful place, in your hands. You are the creator of your path. You are the architect of your next level. You are the living evidence of what happens when a human being remembers who they are. From this moment on, you no longer chase alignment. You live in alignment. You no longer hope for confidence. You embody confidence. You don't just talk about the leap. You are the leap. This is the final season, but it's the first day. So leap boldly, fully, completely, and don't look back, because everything you were reaching for, it's not far anymore. It's here, and it's yours. Let's go. And maybe now you're sitting there, quieter than before. Something in you knows that what you heard wasn't just a chapter, it was a mirror. And you're not just a listener anymore. You're a builder now. You're standing in the afterglow of a decision. That moment when everything softens, but everything sharpens too. The voice of doubt is still there, but it's quieter now. Because something deeper has started speaking. Something more ancient, more honest, more yours. And that's what we've really been unlocking all along. Not just high performance, productivity or success, but truth. The kind of truth that doesn't need to be defended. The kind that pads into a room and changes the air. The kind that lives in your bones, not your bio. This final leap, it's not measured in results. It's measured in peace. How deeply can you trust yourself now? How much silence can you hold? How boldly can you live without explaining yourself to the world? This isn't the leap that makes you louder. It's the one that makes you real. And realness is rare. Because realness doesn't chase. Realness doesn't compare. Realness doesn't ask for applause. It just is. And when you start living from that place, from that grounded, unshakable self-knowing, you become magnetic in a way that no strategy can teach. People will wonder what changed. You'll say, I stopped living from pressure. I started living from power. That's it. That's the leap. So now what? What do you do with this? We've talked about action, movement, boldness, systems, strategy, identity, and energy. But what do you do when the chapter ends and the silence returns? You breathe. You simplify. You listen to what's been whispering inside you this whole time, now made louder by the stillness. You stop trying to get ahead and start trying to get aligned. You stop overbooking yourself and start keeping promises to yourself. You stop proving and start being. And that doesn't mean you stop building. No, you'll build more, but this time without the noise, this time with your whole self in the room, this time with no apology for your ambition and no fear of your power. Because this isn't a story about becoming a better version of you. This is about finally being the full version of you. And let that be enough. And one day soon, maybe tomorrow, maybe months from now, and you'll catch yourself in a moment, saying no to something that used to trap you, standing taller in a space that once made you shrink, taking action that used to scare you, choosing peace where you used to choose chaos, and you'll pause and smile, because you'll realize, this is the life I used to dream about, but now, it's just how I live. That's what happens when you leap, not with force, but with intention. Not because you're broken, but because you're done pretending you're not powerful. You didn't come here to be better than others. You came here to remember you were never less. And now you're finally walking like you believe it. So go, speak less, mean more, move slower, hit harder, dream more prominent, and need less. Be bold, be gentle, be the most dangerous kind of human there is. The one who knows who they are, and moves like the world already agrees. The leap is done. Life begins now.